Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Folks, today is Friday, May 1st, 2026, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. We are here in the historic Mount Bayou, Mississippi, one of our most important black settled towns. We'll talk about the history of this place, also what is happening with black farmers. We've, of course, been talking a lot with John Boyd, president of the National Black Farmers Association, the loss of black land and how this administration is not doing enough to tend to the needs of black farmers. Also, we'll talk about the decision made by the Alabama governor, Kay Ivey, to call for a special session to redistrict. They likely are going to wipe out one or even blow both black congressional seats here in Mississippi. Governor Tate Reeves has said the exact same thing. So you may see the wiping out of Congressman Benny Thompson's congressional seat in New Jersey. The governor there, Nikki Sherrill, announced that they will do redistricting that could add 2 seats. So a lot for us to talk about. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered, the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's
Folks, we're here in Mount Bayou, Mississippi, an historic town that was settled by African Americans in 1887. We're living in a moment, of course, where black folks are under attack in this country. I've been saying since last year what we're dealing with is an administration, Republicans who are trying to defund black America. And the battle with political power is happening before our very eyes. Today, Alabama Governor Kay Ivey announced that she is going to call a special session to lead redistricting. You might remember it was just a couple of years ago where black folks fought successfully for the creation of a second opportunity district. You had the longtime seat held by Congresswoman Terry Sewell, and then the creation of the second seat. There were legal battles that took place, but all the way to the Supreme Court that led to the seat that was won by Congressman Shamari Figures. Well, as a result of the Supreme Court decision just 2 days ago, you're likely going to see Republicans in Alabama wipe that seat out, but don't be surprised. They may very well even go after the seat of Congresswoman Terry Sewell. Why is that important? Because Alabama, that's the black belt where voting rights, the battle of voting rights took place. We're talking Selma, we're talking Montgomery, we're talking Birmingham. And so that is going on there. Then, of course, we're here in Mississippi, where Governor Tate Reeves, even before the Supreme Court decision came down, said that they wanted to redistrict here as well. They want to target the congressional seat of Congressman Benny Thompson, the only Democrat representing this state in Congress, the only African-American. Also, keep in mind, and we've been covering this in the last several months, you had special elections that took place in Mississippi that broke the Republican supermajority. Well, don't be surprised if Republicans get rid of those seats. And so what I've been explaining to our folks is to understand that this Supreme Court decision, this Louisiana versus Calais case, has far-reaching consequences. It is going to impact black political power on the congressional level, on the state level, and go all the way down. You're talking about county commissioner seats, city council seats, school board seats, and who will be under attack? Black folks all across the South. Republicans are seeking to potentially pick up 10 to 15 seats. The Congressional Black Caucus Political Action Committee put out a report, a tweet saying that they could lose up to 24 seats. Now, keep in mind, there are 60 members of the Congressional Black Caucus, the most ever. Losing 24 is almost half of the Black Caucus. That is an extreme number of black power. Tennessee Republicans are talking about wiping out the seat there in Memphis. Congressman Steve Cohen holds that seat. He's running in the primary against State Representative Justin Pearson. Then, of course, you're looking at South Carolina. Republicans there are talking about redistricting there that could wipe out the congressional seat of longtime Congressman Jim Clyburn, the only African-American representing South Carolina. And so when we look at what's happening here, it is going to impact black votes all across the South. The only way Democrats, frankly, can respond is to do the exact same thing. And so New Jersey Governor Mickey Sherrill announced today that she is looking to redistrict that could pick up 2 seats. New York Governor Kathy Hochul said that she will look at redistricting there as well. Some people are arguing that in California, that Governor Gavin Newsom should go even further and potentially create a 52-0 map, giving Democrats all seats in that state. And so this is an absolute war that's going on. Why is this happening right now? Because obviously Republicans are scared to death that they're going to lose the House in November. And I've been explaining to y'all why that's so important. Because, one, Donald Trump said in January, if Democrats get control of the House, he says, I'm going to get impeached. So he's scared about being impeached for a third time. But here's the other issue that we have to keep in mind. The branch of government that actually certifies the presidential election is the House. So if anything happens in 2028, it will be the House. So Republicans want to be in control of the House to certify the election. If Republicans were in control of the House in 2020, they would not have certified the election for Vice President Joe Biden. So we have to understand the long-term game that's going on here. And that is what you're dealing with. And so that's why they're doing all they can to change what's going on. Remember, Democrats put forward a bill to call for a national ban on gerrymandering. Every Republican voted against that particular bill. And so that's what we're looking at. That's what we're seeing. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we're going to hear from Congressman Troy Carter of New Orleans. His seat may be in jeopardy as well, because don't be surprised if Republicans in Louisiana try to wipe out both black seats. And that second seat, which Congressman Cleo Fields, they just got a couple of years ago. And again, that was a result of legal battle as well. So a lot is going on. And again, we're going to keep explaining to our audience why this is so important, because a lot of African Americans just sort of see this as politics, not understanding this is also about power. It is about resources. It's about the ability to control access to dollars. And so if you wipe out black representation, Republicans are saying they're targeting Democratic representation. No, they're targeting black representation. And so we have to understand that. We can't fall for this okie doke and what's going on. Because remember, they have 4 black Republicans in the House. All of them will be leaving in January because Representative John James is running for governor there. You have, of course, Wesley Hunt in Texas, who lost the U.S. Senate race in the primary. Then, of course, you have Byron Donalds out of Florida, who is running for governor. And then Burgess Owens in Utah chose not to run when Democrats picked up a seat there. And so the real issue for us is what happens when they wipe out black political power across the South. Who then is representing the interests of African Americans, especially when 55% of black people live in the South, and that number is increasing every single year. What I've also said is that if this wipeout happens, this will be the largest decrease in black political representation in Congress since the end of Reconstruction. Let me say that again. It will be the largest wipeout. Remember, you had a significant number of black folks who were elected to state level and the federal level during the period of Reconstruction. When you had the election of 1876, the Great Compromise of 1877, you begin to see the rollback and the attacks in this state, of course, was a constitutional convention in 1890 where they stripped black folks of their right to vote. You have not had an African-American elected statewide in Mississippi since that convention in 1890. And so what we have to realize is that this attack on black political power goes directly with the attack on black history, on black education, on black health, on black contracts. All these things are tied together. We're going to be chatting with some farmers here a little bit later. We have seen a massive loss of black land in the last 100 years, and it is being expedited in the last 10 to 20 years because of the failure of the federal government to provide loans to black farmers. Even though Donald Trump, last time he was here, $25 billion they gave out to white farmers as a result of his tariff battle. Money did not go to black farmers. And in fact, it was Stephen Miller, who is Trump's right-hand person, who sued to stop the $5 billion that Congress set aside for black and Hispanic farmers. Now, the exact same thing is happening. White House has a massive meeting with farmers. They do not invite John Boyd, the president of the National Black Farmers Association, because they say this isn't a DEI meeting, but they had white farmers who were there. And so what we need to understand that this attack is real. This attack is ongoing. And really what their goal is to lock in or lock out blacks from political power for the next 50 to 100 years. And so we have to be thinking a lot differently about what's going on and how we utilize our power. And we're going to talk here as well about turnout, because if black folks had voted their numbers in Mississippi, Mike Espy could have beat Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith. He lost by 65,000 votes. He came back and then lost the second time around. But again, what must happen in Mississippi? What must happen all across the country for African Americans to turn out in significant numbers? So lots we're going to talk about. Again, at the bottom of the hour, we'll chat with Congressman Troy Carter. I'm going to go to a break. We'll be right back, and we'll chat about what's happening here in Mount Bayou, Mississippi, right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Swing Cash, Basketball Hall of Famer, and you're watching Black Star Network.
Folks, we're back here in Mount Bayou, Mississippi, a very historic town that, when it comes to our history and our culture, carries significant meaning. We're going to talk right now a little bit more politics. Joining me now is the former mayor of Mount Bayou, also pastor here, Darrell Johnson. Darrell, how you doing?
I'm great, and happy to have you in Mount Bayou, Mississippi.
All right, glad to be here. And in fact, so we ran each other when? Was it last year? Yep. So we were down there, and of course, first of all, just so y'all know, Darrell and Herman gonna roll up on me like they gangsters or something. We need you to come down to Mount Bayou. Because we saw what you were saying about Isaiah T. Montgomery, and so it's another side of the story. I was like, all right, what's the other side of the story? And so I said, all right, we'll make our way down there. So it's not a problem. So we were in Shreveport last night with of course, with a tragic shooting there with a brother who killed 8 kids and shot 2 other women. And so they had a public forum there dealing with the issue of mental health. Dr. Kevin Washington organized that. And so when I pulled the map up, I said, y'all were 4 hours away. So I was like, all right, we're going to be down there. So let's go ahead and slide over. Because also there was a story that was published talking about Trump sending his white Afrikaners down here to Mississippi to take farm jobs. And so I said, well, good, let's go ahead and talk about all of that. But first off, let's talk politics. And the reality of what we're facing, and I have been yelling and screaming this for a very long time. And I have been saying to black folks, especially those 18 to 45, that the attacks that we are confronting now is the greatest threat to black advancement since the Civil Rights Movement.
Right.
And not only are they attacking those advancements, they are really looking going back to the Reconstruction Amendment, 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment. And so what we are confronting now, and I just think a lot of black folks do not fully understand the attack that is happening, and they are attacking every single facet of black America because a lot of these white folks are just flat out mad at black advancement, and they're scared that they're not going to be in the majority come 2043.
And I agree. People have been afraid of black achievement for a long time. And they do all types of things to keep us down because they are afraid. They don't understand the power of working together. And because of that, Mississippi has some of the most negative statistics because there has been division. The only reason that we're sitting in this room today is because of racism. And the reason I said that is because Mississippi has so many schools that they built. They had to build some for whites. They had to build some for blacks. All of that
Hold tight 1 second. Are we getting his audio? Because they're telling me they can't hear him. We are? All right, go ahead.
All of that came because of racism. And then when they decided to correct it, we had too many schools. We had to merge people together. I grew up in the 60s. And in the 60s, growing up, there was an urge and a move of African Americans, just let us be heard. And because of that, people came out from everywhere. You would see voter lines,
right,
rapping everywhere. People would come out. They didn't care if you came out with your guns and came up against us. It's because there was something deep and down inside of them saying, I want to be heard. I want to be represented in the country. Now,
y'all got a photo over there. There's a photo over there
exactly
that says near riot broke out as voters voters' registration blanks were passed among a crowd of 13,000 states. Negro vote will hit peak in 1914. So a near riot over trying to register to vote.
Trying to vote. And that was the heart of the people. I want to be heard. I want to participate in this, the greatest country that was built on the backs of the slaves or ex-slaves or the people that was living on these plantations, built on the back of that. And the United States became the greatest country in the nation, in the world. And then it was, now you're talking about, but we don't want them to participate. Yes, there is a fear that black people, if we let them do something, they're going to hurt us and they're going to put us down. And that's something that we need to get over.
Well, it's also the basis of my book, White Fear, how the browning of America, the subtitle is How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. And I mean, I look at this state right here, and I've been saying this for the longest. Mississippi is at the bottom, one of the poorest states in the union. Right. And I said, there are a lot of poor black people, right, and there's more poor white people.
Right.
And I keep saying broke is broke.
Right.
But the reality is there are white folks in this state who consistently are voting against their economic interests, their health interests, their education interests, because they're voting for whiteness.
Right.
And so they literally will continue to vote against themselves in order not to align with black people. And what's crazy, if you look at the history of this country, if you go back to the period of Reconstruction, from the period of Reconstruction to present day, every moment in American history where black people fought for civil and economic rights, it actually increased the well-being of poor white people, because the bills that we fought for helped them as well.
Exactly. Exactly. And we find, even in the story of Mount Bayou, that all of the Confederacy and the Davises that ran the Confederacy, the people that was actually making them rich was the people that actually ended up coming to Mount Bayou. These were the folks, these were the people, this was a think tank. These were the people that were running their business. These were the people that make them most successful. They had the most premium cotton in the world down on the Davis plantation. And these are black people. They are ingenuity. Why they started being successful, had the most successful plantation, because they allowed them to be themselves. And one of the things I think people are afraid of is that if black people start voting and start participating like everybody else, they're afraid that they will get snuffed out. But it's going to make this one of the greatest again. This would really make America really great again.
Well, and the thing for me is it's also trying to get black folks to stop being afraid. I'll give you a perfect example. So when I was at TV One, in order to be on the cable system, you actually had to go to each city where they had a cable franchise and convince the cable franchise to carry the network. So you would sign a master agreement with Comcast, with Charter, but then you had to go to each city where they were. So I remember coming to Mississippi, and we organized an event, and all of these towns that were majority black city councils, black mayors, city council members, what happened was they didn't even understand that when the renewal period came up, where the city renewed the cable agreement, that they could sit here and say, no, we're not going to renew this cable agreement unless y'all carry more black networks. What we found was that in so many of these towns, there were white lawyers who had the legal contract. And here we were trying to explain to the black leaders who had the votes, that no, you actually had the power to do this, and we were dealing with these white lawyers who were telling them, well, no, you necessarily can't. So we were having to educate all of these black mayors and black council members that, no, you can actually do this. And in fact, when we were in, I forgot the company that had one of the contracts here, they actually were owned by the Washington Post, Donald Graham. And the general manager here was like, no, folks down here aren't requesting TV One. We're like, we know they're asking for a black network. So the white general manager of the cable franchise was saying that all of these black folks in Mississippi did not want to see another black network. We were like, we know you lying. So we had to apply a level of pressure. And I remember it's a brother who has a radio show that airs statewide. And I did his show. And I said, the black folks in Mississippi, I said, I want y'all to cancel y'all cable. I said, we want DirecTV. I said, get DirecTV. Y'all want to see TV One. That's the only reason they said yes. But what was crazy to me were the number of places that had black control, but they still were being controlled by whites.
The narrative, whatever narrative is there, a lot of us have to be very careful. We're seeing not only blacks, but we're seeing whites. A lot of people are even right now being controlled by someone that has the mic. Whoever has the largest mic actually controls the narrative. And so it's important that we start thinking for ourselves and start thinking up 5 years, 10 years from now. What are we going to leave for our children? What are we going to leave for our children 10 years from now, 15 years from now? And that same person that comes to me and says, well, I don't think I need to be voting. I think one of the key issues right now is for us to start figuring out how to get my friend to vote, how to get somebody else out to start voting, because voting gives you a voice. Your finger can actually talk when you go down there and press that lever and start voting. And
I think the process, though, has to be, and I think for the longest, you talk about narrative and how you frame it. The framing has been, you got to vote. But the problem was some of the people then asking, what am I voting for? So what we have to do is actually connect the dots. We have to walk people through in just a very basic way, meaning you want this. So we were traveling here, and we were in Louisiana coming here, and I was live yesterday, and man, the bus is all over the road because of the highways. And Gary Chambers Jr. cracked a joke about it. He said, we need to put pressure on this governor. He said, because Roland, you have them driving these raggedy roads. People don't understand that if it is a highway, that's money that's coming from the federal government coming to the state. That's politics. Mm-hmm. If you are upset about potholes or you want roads paved, you want new schools built, that's all government. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people just really don't even connect the dots to it to understand that people clamor for things, not realizing, well, no, that's going to be a school district, or that's going to be the city government, or that's going to be the county government. No, that's going to be the state, and that's going to be the federal. And so that, to me, is also something that we have to do. Spend massive amounts of time engaged in voter education, and that is informing, enlightening, and educating them to now understand why you must register and then why you must then vote.
And I think, Roland, we need to know in leadership that needs to be some answers, some real hardline things that we need to do. And some of our leaders need to make sure that our people know. And we all need to be on the same page, because coming up in the next year, the next 2 years, is going to be very crucial for us on down the road. And the key is going to be voting.
Oh, and I'm telling you right now, every black person in Mississippi needs to understand that because of this Supreme Court decision on Wednesday, they are about to come after black elected leadership. I need people to understand. Oh, you're sounding alarmist. Yes, I am. Because I'm telling you, these people are pissed with the number of black people that are in power.
Can I say, as a minister of the gospel?
You can't say pissed, but I can say that.
Well.
Go ahead.
Can I say, being naive, and it's changed me, that our wonderful governor of the state of Mississippi, can I say that I probably never would think that he would absolutely take the driving wheel of this racist move that many of the governors are going to try to take. How dare our Christian man that prays and moves and so forth and so on. How dare he do what he doing?
Well, keep in mind, it was a video that played the other day, and they talked about the Catholic Church that supported chattel slavery, the Anglican Church supported chattel slavery, the Episcopalian, the Mormons, the Methodists. They went down. It's like every single one of these denominations did, and the greatest folk who supported chattel slavery were those Southern Baptists. So it's no shock in my mind that the so-called Christian governor, plus this is also the same governor when he was previously the treasurer. He openly admitted how he kept money from Jackson, Mississippi, which is crazy because Jackson, Mississippi supplies the most money to the state,
right?
But you kept money from them. So that's what you're dealing with. Hold tight 1 second. I want to bring in right now Congressman Troy Carter from New Orleans. He joins us right now. Congressman, glad to have you on the show. This Louisiana versus Calais decision, I have been yelling, screaming at folks. It is going to cause significant problems all across this country, especially the South. But let's start right now in Louisiana, where your MAGA governor, Jeff Landry, literally is postponing the election, which is utterly insane because people are actually voting. And I'm sure there's going to be legal challenges here. Just share your thoughts about this unbelievable thing. We didn't cancel elections during the Civil War, during World War I, World War II, during COVID, and he is literally postponing an election because of this shameful, despicable Supreme Court decision.
Roland, first of all, thank you for always illuminating these issues and bringing these critical issues to light. Listen, you're absolutely right. When you look at what happened and the blow that was dealt to our democracy by the Supreme Court justices who chose to throw out one of the most monumental pieces of legislation, the 1965 Voting Rights Act, by literally gutting Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. What they essentially did with this gut is you say on one hand, it is okay to gerrymander to pick your party. You can gerrymander along partisan lines. So you gave an advantage through partisan gerrymandering. But on the other side, you denied the opportunity to defend against discrimination by creating a narrow window where individuals must prove intent to discriminate. That is reminiscent of the poll tax, or reminiscent of the Jim Crow laws that said, here's a jar of jelly beans. Look at it and tell me how many jelly beans are in this jar. It was impossible then, and this new test from the Supreme Court is impossible now. What it's basically saying is, black folk, Hispanic folk, we don't care about you. Your vote doesn't matter. We're going to do whatever we want. And unfortunately, the Supreme Court has sanctioned that. Louisiana v. Calais, while its name suggests that it is about Louisiana, and it is, in fact, about Louisiana, but it is far deeper, far wider. The implications are much greater because this impacts local school boards, legislative seats, city council, and police jurors across our country will likewise be subject to this ridiculous ruling and dynamiting, if you will, of our Voting Rights Act. Section 2 being gutted is like tearing all of the work, all of the blood, sweat, and tears of our freedom riders, of John Lewis marching on Edmund Pettus Bridge, and tearing it up with a stroke of a pen. Now, these elections, which is unconscionable that our governor would unilaterally decide that this is a state of emergency, that you cancel elections, and as you said, this hasn't happened. There's no storm, there's no tidal wave, there's no tornadoes. This is a matter of the Supreme Court determining that this map was unconstitutional. I'll remind you, Roland, that 4 years ago, Garrett Graves had a map that the Supreme Court determined to be unconstitutional. They struck it down, but they said it's too close to the election. Therefore, we're going to hold this back, let the election go as is, and in 2 years, we'll remedy it. Well, 2 years came by. They created the remedy, which created the seat that now my colleague and friend, Congressman Cleo Fields, holds in the 6th Congressional District. At that time, the election was much further away than it is here. Now, our election has already begun. People that are serving our military abroad and at home have already turned in their ballots. Our senior citizens, our people that have challenged mobility, have turned in their ballots. And tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., people will show up for the first day of early voting. This is the quintessential definition of irreplaceable, irreparable harm, because you are putting people, an 80 or 90-year-old lady or man, every time they vote, it may very well be the last time. Our soldiers who are dedicating their lives for us may not get another time. You're telling them your vote doesn't matter. You're casting your vote doesn't matter. You're telling African Americans and Hispanics that this partisan gerrymandering is okay to cut you out and to block your city up and to divide your community so you'll never have enough votes to have an elected official that looks like me or you to be elected. I'll remind you that why this is so important in the Deep South. In Louisiana, we have never had an elected official to be elected statewide from the state of Louisiana since Reconstruction. John Willis Menard, 150 years ago in the very seat that I hold, was the first black man to ever be elected to Congress, but he was never seated. He was never seated because there was a congressman that went to the well of the floor and said, this Congress is not ready for a Negro to serve in Congress. And summarily, they didn't seat him. Fast forward to 2026. Calvin Duncan was duly elected by the people of New Orleans to be clerk of criminal district court. But this governor and the legislature decided, oh no, we don't want him to be. So even though the people had spoken clearly, they pulled the rug from under Mr. Duncan and erased his seat with legislation. This is America, right? Or so we say. So my comment to all of our brothers and sisters out there is, this is real time. This is not fiction. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is real, and we have to be smart. We have to be galvanized. We have to be strong. We have to be together, and we have to vote like we've never voted before so we can then take back the Congress, take back governor's mansions, take back the presidency, and start to reverse these ill actions because they're banking on us fighting each other. They're banking on us not voting. They're banking on us staying home. They're banking on us having a circular firing squad while they run up the middle with a president who doesn't care about our Constitution, our rule of law, or the rights of individuals anywhere. Although this impacts Louisiana, it's the epicenter, it is going to have reverberating hits throughout our country with congressional seats, school boards, state legislative seats, council seats, all over the country.
But Congressman, this also
all over the country.
But this also is why we also try to walk people through on what the implications of not voting are. I mean, let's just be honest. A significant number of black people did not vote in the gubernatorial election. That's how Jeff Landry was able to win. There were a lot of people
That's a fact.
Who just said, I don't like Hillary Clinton.
That's a fact.
A lot of people said, well, you know, Trump is not going to be that bad. And guess what? He then appoints 3 of these Supreme Court justices. The reality is this here. Had Hillary Clinton won in 2016, you would have a progressive majority on the Supreme Court and not a right-wing majority. And so this is also the result of people staying home. Now with this emergency, now folks are having, now, the world is on fire, and now folks hopefully are going to wake up. And so what are you and others in Louisiana doing to combat this, to mobilize and organize people going to the state capitol, applying maximum pressure to the legislature not to eradicate these maps? Because I'll be honest, Congressman, we keep talking about how they're going to wipe out Congressman Cleo Fields' seat. I fundamentally believe that the Republicans in Louisiana want to wipe out your seat. I believe in Alabama, they want to wipe out not just Shamari Figure's seat, but also Terry Sewell's seat. I'm here in Mount Bayou, Mississippi. They absolutely want to wipe out Benny Thompson's seat.
Listen, they want to wipe out all of our seats. And when I mentioned Cleo Fields, I mentioned that it was his seat that was the target, but a target of the lawsuit. But the real target is everyone that's black and brown. The real target is everyone who's a Democrat. The real target is to obliterate. Listen, Donald Trump was very clear. He called the governor of Texas and said, I need 5 votes. He started this avalanche of having these midterm reapportionments. Reapportionments done every 10 years to take into account the ebbs and flows of our demographic changes. This president decided he would do it sooner. That's what started the avalanche. I understand totally that they are not just after 1 seat. They want 2, 3, 4, 5, as many seats as they can. They want to go to Mississippi. They want to go to Alabama. They want to go to Georgia. They want to go everywhere they can, particularly in the Deep South, where I try to explain to people, the Deep South is very different. The Deep South is very different. If you look here, and I'll emphasize again, no African American's ever been successful in a statewide run. Why is that? Why is that? So we're not like some of our northern partners where we have the ability where white Democrats wholeheartedly vote for African American Democrats. That's not reciprocated here in the South. It's unfortunate. It should be different, and hopefully at some point it will be. But right now, the reality is there is a frontal, all-out assault against everyone that serves in the Congressional Black Caucus and in the Hispanic Caucus.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, grassroots activists and others, churches, you name it, should be on DEFCON 5, should be a high alert, because this is a moment, and I've been yelling and screaming this is a moment where they want to deal a death blow to black progress. Many of these white conservative Republicans, especially in the South, they have despised the 1964 Civil Rights Act, the 65 Voting Rights Act, the 68 Fair Housing Act. They despise all the laws and other things that have happened ever since then, and they want to eradicate as much of this progress as possible. And so folk better recognize that we are on the verge of literally having the next generation having fewer rights than the ones that we have right now. Final comment, Congressman Carter.
Well, I want to again, and as I started, Roland, thank you for speaking truth to power, using your enormous power and following to call balls and strikes and to talk about where we need to be and to call out the inefficiencies and the racism that we see in our community. Listen, we have a role to play, and we all have a role in that play. In Louisiana, we are talking to our great leaders, our civil rights leaders, Mark Morial and Brother Sharpton and Derek Johnson and Siobhan and all of the others across the spectrum. And you, of course, Gary Chambers and I met a couple of weeks ago with the DNC chair to talk about that we have to start investing more money, not just lip service in the South. We had a very good meeting. And we've got to continue to galvanize. We've got to give our Democrats in the state legislature the backing so they will have the courage to stand up and fight and know that we've got their back. So in the coming days, we'll be organizing, and I'll be reaching out to you as well as others to ask you to be a part of this push to get us organized, but not just for this battle. We can't get angry for a moment and then settle. We have to stay angry. We have to stay organized. We have to stay hungry, and we have to be able to fight for our rights. People died so we would have this moment. People died so I can serve in Congress. People died so you can own the airwaves. We can lose all this. We see how FCC goes after Jimmy Kimmel. You'd think they'll think nothing, not a heartbeat of a second, to go after our black media. We have to be ready, smart, defensive, and offensive at the same time to defend our rights, galvanize our people, empower them to be a part of the process, and not look at them on the sideline as if they have nothing to say. Our people have a lot to say, and we've got to engage them. We have to deputize them to be a part of this battle because it requires all hands on deck. God bless you, Roland. Thank you for doing what you're doing, brother. I'd love to come back on soon and talk some more and give you some updates on what's going on here in Louisiana as well as what's going on at the nation's capital.
All right, sounds great, Congressman Troy Carter. Certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot. All right, folks, we're going to go to break. We come back. We'll be chatting here, getting a historic perspective of Mount Bayou, Mississippi, and how the creation of this town during that era really speaks volumes to what we should be thinking about and doing today in 2026. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network. Back in a moment.
I'm Brittany Noble, Midwest-born, HBCU educated with experience in newsrooms across the country. Well, I've teamed up with Roland Martin to bring to you The Breakdown. This isn't just news. It's our stories, our voice, our community. Join me for The Breakdown, Monday through Friday at midday, only on the Black Star Network.
I'm Ryan Wilson, CEO and co-founder of The Gathering Spot, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Museum. All right, folks. Y'all can kill the music. Y'all can kill the music. I'm talking. Thank you very much. Y'all got to be paying attention in control room. All right. So we're not actually in the museum. So what happened to the museum? We're here in the school. This is the makeshift museum. So explain what happened.
Right. So the building that we started off in is the outbuilding, which was the band room, choir room, music building for this school. Since this school closed in 2018, that afforded us the reason to be in that room over there, in that building over there. But in January, we had an ice storm, and water was coming everywhere. And so we had water in the museum. We had to get those artifacts out. And thankfully, the people here at the school, since it's closed and it's merged with the school north of us, this afforded us to have this room to put a temporary exhibit in here until we can get our building fixed over there.
All right, then. So for folks who don't know about Mount Bayou, give us a perspective on the history of this town.
Well, I'm going to first say this. Everybody should know. And I think because in America, there was a concerted effort to keep the history of African Americans down. We don't know. And so what we did was realizing that there was an amazing history of this city here, one of the most amazing histories you ever heard of any African American place in this country. And the continuation of it from the core of the people who started it that came from the plantation all the way up until now, this amazing story of this city, somebody's got to tell it, because of the whole diaspora of African Americans, 40 or 50 million or whatever it is of us in this country. This story actually tells who we actually are, who black people actually are. And so I came back, my brother had never left, and as time went on, we started realizing that there was a depth to this story that we had not realized before. And so we decided to open a museum. There are other things that we decided to do in Mount Bayou because we believe that this city should go back to the glory that it used to be back in the days. And so we opened up this museum, and it's been very successful since then.
So first of all, how many people reside in Mount Bayou?
Right now, about 1,500.
And at its height, how many folks were in the city?
I think there were times where we had hovered around 8,000, maybe even 11,000 at one point.
We were talking earlier, and you were talking about the massive amount of land that had been acquired. Walk through that.
The land that has been acquired?
The land that had been acquired. So in terms of the formation of Mount Bayou.
Okay.
And for folks who don't, I was talking about this the other day because Michael Harriet had put together this thread on Twitter that sort of explained, how collective economics had operated, that then began the process of acquiring the land, things along those lines, and also the land itself, what it used to be.
Well, when they started the city, I.T. Montgomery comes up here and he buys. Now, first of all, I got to say that I.T. Montgomery, his intention was Mount Bayou was to be a seed for a country. And he was strategically looking for a way to do that. But when he came here, he bought 840 acres. And because he was bringing up people from the previous plantation that he had been on, and they were mostly going to be agriculture, the railroad that sold I.T. Montgomery the land authorized him to sell 37,000 acres surrounding Mount Bayou for the farmers to come up here and be an agricultural society. So they did that. And so at one time, Mount Bayou had 40,000 acres that's owned by African Americans here. So
that's obviously a large amount of land. And so then town gets formed. But people also have to understand, again, how folk work together to begin to do that. That's, I'm always reciting Dr. King's last sermon, April 3rd, 1968, where he said that black people have to operate as a collective. He said individually we are poor, collectively we represent one of the largest economies in the world. The acquisition of that land, the building of this city, none of that happens if folk are not moving and working and operating together.
Absolutely, and that's absolutely what happened to start this place. Even those that initially came, when they first got here, this was nothing but wilderness. It was a swamp. You had all kind of animals and things here. And some people got here as they were invited to come up, or they were coming up with I.T. Montgomery. They got here and they saw all this work of clearing this land, and some of them like, I'm going back to my conference. Back to Vicksburg or wherever they were from. And I.T. Montgomery told them, he said, if your master had told you to clear this land, would you not have done it? And absolutely the answer had to be yes. And so with that spirit to build something for their children and their children's children, Mount Bayou was formed and cleared and became very, very successful in this state.
And this was also done because black folks created their own bank.
They create their own bank here, and matter of fact, some of the wealthiest people in the state of Mississippi were here in Mount Bayou. If you can imagine that they came here, and with the ingenuity that they came here with, they created the highest grade of cotton in the world here in Mount Bayou. And because of that, instead of this city, the size of it, only having one cotton gin, they end up having to have 6 because of all the people that were coming from out of the area, bringing their cotton here to get that Mount Bayou label and get that higher price. Now, think of this also. In the city of Mount Bayou, you had stores that were servicing the people here in the city, right? But you also had a unique place, an oasis, so to speak, in the desert. Mount Bayou being an all African-American place where black people could come and walk in through the front door. Well, people who didn't live in this city would come here to Mount Bayou because of the fact that they could walk in through the front door in this city. And so anyway, what they did was because of that, you had a huge population of people that were coming here to Mount Bayou to shop and that type of thing. Well, the store owners in this city here became some of the wealthiest people in the state of Mississippi. So you had a lot of things going on, a lot of power here in Mount Bayou.
I was reading something Harriet wrote. He was talking about, of course, what took place here. This is what he said. 1941, a black-owned architecture firm, McKissick & McKissick, broke ground on the Taborian Hospital in Mound Bayou. any member of the black organization who paid $8.40 a year in dues could get free health care, including surgery. And he said to leave the hospital, Ben personally chose one of the most important unknown figures in black history, T.R.M. Howard, who trained Medgar Evers and Fannie Lou Hamer. He was Jesse Jackson's mentor. The Montgomery bus boycott was modeled after Howard's Don't Buy Gas Where You Can't Use the Restroom campaign.
Yes, absolutely. And that hospital is a shining jewel of Mount Bayou because of it, you know, and also think of it this way. You know, you got that hospital here, and there's no other black hospital in this area, in North Mississippi. You know, the only other one was in Yazoo City. Now, everybody that's black who can get to this area are coming to this hospital. Instead of going to hospitals, they're going to be treated bad, you know, in their own locations. So, like Michael Harriet said, they did put together something that afforded everybody the opportunity to go to this hospital and be treated. And so, like he said, $840 a year, that afforded you so many surgeries. And I think it was like something like $16 a year for a whole family. And 37,000 people signed up for that and became the first HMO in the country. And they did HMOs in that time the way they were supposed to do it, to benefit the people. Mm-hmm. My father tells a story all the time when he had to go, because they would check you up. They would check on you and make you come to the hospital and do a checkup 3 times a year. And one time he came and they wanted to put him in the hospital and they made him stay there for three days. When he left, on his exit, they gave him $100 because they were actually looking out for the patients.
All right, so when we met, y'all said we got to give you a different understanding of I.T. Montgomery, Isaiah T. Montgomery. You have the 1890 Mississippi Constitutional Convention. He is the only black delegate, Republican. He votes along with the Southern Democrats to strip black folks of their right to vote. Frederick Douglass did not take kindly to that position, was very critical. And so, all right, so y'all explain to me why I should not keep ripping Isaiah Montgomery for that decision. Well, let me. They rolled up. They were like, "Now you've been saying some hard stuff." I'm like, "Yes, I have. Yes, I have." So walk me through and explain.
Let me help you out. First of all, let me just say, because you're sitting in Mount Bayou, that's number one. So his strategy was to have a place where God and
why are you holding the microphone? Both of them work. Oh, can y'all hear him?
That one's not allowed.
Y'all hear him?
Okay.
This one's better.
So anyway.
All right, okay. Give me that one. Hold on. Give it here. Give it here. Now I'll take that one. I'll unplug it.
Okay.
Because that way we've got feedback there. Go ahead.
Okay. So the bottom line is that Mount Bayou still exists, and actually Montgomery strategized. He was a guy that came up in a plantation, listening to the voices and the strategies of people strategizing for the Confederacy. He knew how they were. He knew how they thought. But when he was able to talk to them, he had to talk to them with strategy. When he was picked to go to the 1890 convention, he knew what he could say, but he was looking for the power that would give him something 10 years later, 20 years later, 50 years later, like a town called Mount Bayou. And because of it, he even told them in the speech that you make reference to, he told them, I know y'all going to do what y'all want to do. And basically what he was saying, I'm going to tell you what you want to hear. This is what you want to hear. But think about this. He's one black man that's picked to go with all of these white folks. What you think he's going to say? He has to say what he has to say.
But did he have to go?
Exactly, but he went on. And
but did he have to go?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the reason that he went is to represent.
But he represented by voting with him.
But because he represented, he took with him a power that he did not have, and that was the folks who had the power. And he knew how to manipulate the folks who had the power.
So how did he do that?
And let me just say,
for folks who don't know, how did he do that? Go ahead, y'all.
When there were threats that came against this town, when there were threats, he would tell them, and there's writings that say, he said, I'm not worried about the people to my south or the people to my north or the people to my east or the west. They're going to take care of us. We're not worried about that. When the people came into Mount Bayou to take over Mount Bayou, like the Klan, they called them and told them, say, look, they coming. And so they did come. I don't know if it was a Klan or what type of white group that came, but all the lights went out in Mount Bayou, and that night when those folks came into Mount Bayou, they already knew. It was because their friends told them. They let a Gatling gun go on the top of the bank and let that thing start, tat, 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 tat. Those guys left. Well, they wouldn't have known that if they were the rebels. Mm-hmm. If they were the ones that was fighting those folks. But there's a way to listen to them, let them talk, and utilize their power, and that's what he did. And that's how Mount Bayou was able to survive in a very racist, dark South.
You were going to say something?
Well, the only thing I'm going to add right now is that I.T. Montgomery, I think, was really looking to start a country. When he was down there on that plantation, and he was around Jefferson Davis, he had to see Jefferson Davis plotting the Confederacy. There had to be many, many meetings and gatherings down there. And his father is running all those plantations, Benjamin Montgomery, and he ended up buying that plantation. But in any case, I think I.T. Montgomery's ultimate goal was his father's goal was to start a country. Matter of fact, when I.T. Montgomery died in 1924, I believe it was, he had been working with the U.S. president to actually buy the Congo from the Belgians because his ultimate goal was to start a country. And so it was a strategy. All of these are strategy moves. And, we can always look back on them with hindsight and criticize or say this, that, and the other. But to say that he was any other person but a forward-looking person looking for the best for his people, I'm gonna say one thing that Martin Luther King said, and I think it was kind of mimics what I.T. Montgomery was looking at. One of the things Martin Luther King said was when he was had taken some time into his leadership in the civil rights movement. He said he feared that he had taken leading his people into a burning house. And I don't think I.T. Montgomery, I think he was thinking the same thing. And he didn't want to just settle for second-class citizenship. The Reconstruction, the 1890 convention, was a convention to assert first-class citizenship for white people. And I.T. Montgomery was not settling for that. So he had another strategy to start another country because he knew these people.
But he was critiqued at the time by, one of the most important figures.
Yeah, of course he was critiqued.
Because Frederick Douglass called the vote an act of, quote, treason to the cause of the colored people, not only of his own state, but of the United States, and said that what he heard was a groan of bitter anguish born of oppression and despair. So, and some call him an accommodationist.
Well, if your idea is to assimilate, then I can see that. But if your idea is to separate, which I think I.T. Montgomery was idea was, then I can see what he did was a strategic move on that end.
So the question, we look at the history, we look at all that took place. The question now becomes, in terms of where we are as African Americans, because right now you got a lot of people who are saying who love talking about Black Wall Street, and then some folk want to recreate that, and you have all these different efforts, and the reality is, how I see this, if we're going to be talking about recreating or trying to pattern on what took place here in 1887, you have to do that with acquiring land. And when I listen to African Americans today complain about gentrification, I keep saying, okay, complaining about gentrification means nothing if you don't acquire the land. Because listen, we also know the land is available. And when I see folks say, well, you know, white folks are coming into our communities, buying up the land, I'm going, okay, but I remember I was in Chicago and a brother was complaining about that. And I had to ask him, I said, let me ask you a question. Do you rent where you live or do you own? He said, I rent. I said, that means you have no power. He goes, what do you mean? I said, the person who owns has power. I said, he can jack up your rent. You can't afford it. You got to move out. I said, this is about owning. So what really the conversation that really has to be is not, are we trying to open another business, leasing it from somebody else, but really having a path of owning property that allows us to be able to build and grow. That's really what this requires.
Right. And you barking up my tree.
It is. And so we're going to talk about it, you know, in the second half with some of the farmers. And right now, you know, we are looking at, and I forgot, John Last that was on, he talked about the number of black farmers right now whose farms are facing foreclosure and the amount of land we're talking about. And I asked him, I said, you know, in terms of being able to preserve that land, he said, you're probably talking anywhere from $30 to $50 million. And that's really where we are. And so we have to be, to me, we cannot have discussions about or look fondly on and talk about, well, this would happen in Mount Bayou, this would happen in Tulsa, in Greenwood, understanding that was because we own the land. Right now, we're having conversations when we're renting. That is not the same conversation.
I agree, 100%. And I think here in Mount Bayou, there are plans that we have. My brother and I, and then some others, have plans to kind of redevelop this area, to bring tourism here, to bring economic progress here to this area. And there are some ideas that we have that we think that, we really are sitting here in the heart of the Mississippi Delta as we are. There's more history here, I think, concentrated than that we give credit for. And I think there's a lot of things that we can do here that we can't do anywhere else in the country. And so we have our eyes on prosperity and progress here in Mount Bayou.
All right, well, keep us abreast of those plans. I'm going to go to a break. We come back. We're going to chat with some farmers here and talk about what's going on there. We are facing a significant crisis with losing more black farmland in this country. And so we'll do that next right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. We've had some 47,000 people who've donated to our show since we launched September 4th, 2018. So you can do the same. You want to support our show via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here on the screen. That's also for credit cards as well. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 2003 7-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
A decade of love, joy, and power. Black Voters Matter is 10 years old, and we are just getting started. This is love with a purpose. This is Black joy in motion. This is unstoppable power. Across campuses, neighborhoods, and back roads. Let's go! We show up not just to vote, but to be seen, to be heard, to belong. We ride together, we organize together. We remind each other that our voices matter, because they always have. Black Voters Matter is about more than ballots. It's about housing and healthcare, clean water and living wages, education, reproductive freedom, and dignity. It's about turning pain into action, turning belief into movement, turning community into power. We don't wait to be invited. We bring the energy. We bring the love. We bring the people. Because when Black communities come together, we don't just survive, we thrive. This is how change happens. This is how history moves. We organize, we build, we win.
My name is Bill Duke, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, welcome back to Mount Bayou, Mississippi. We are glad to have here. We've had many conversations on this show about the plight of Black farmers in this country. And a lot of folk got to realize that there are Black farmers in this country. There are, and what we're seeing, when we look at the resources in this country, where do they go to? They're largely going to white farmers in Iowa and Illinois and Wisconsin and Nebraska and those places. And a lot of resources bypassing African Americans. Joining us right now are three gentlemen who are in the business. First of all, I'm gonna go to my far end and give me your name. How long you been farming?
My name is Louis Sanders. I've been farming since I was 6 years old.
And how old are you?
71.
Gotcha. All right then. So 71 minus 6, that's a few years. All right.
My name is John Coleman. I've been farming about 50 years, and I'm 57.
Okay.
I'm Mitchell Williams. I started about 3 or 4, and now I am 89.
All right then. And you still farming?
No, I passed it on a few years ago now, but I stayed in it as long as I was able to farm and brought up another generation of young grands and great-grands, and hopefully that they will continue to farm. But with the problem that young Blacks are facing in financing agencies, it makes it very difficult for them to get financing to do the kind of operation that they need to do. Because I can remember the time when I was a boy, when a person would come to Mount Bayou, want to leave from where they are, say, well, we want to take down farming. And they said, no. I said, what you got? He said, nothing. And the guy sitting around the service station said, well, I'll give you 10 pounds of cotton seeds. Another one that looked and said, well, I'll give you 10 pounds of corn. And another one over there would say, well, I got 4 mules over there. You can use one of them to bring up your land. And another said, I'll loan you my plow. That was the attitude of the farmers back in the days. My little grandchildren called it. And they would give that person a start. And then as we moved on, my brother and I was trying to buy a plot of land adjoining us. Both of us were working in the school system. We couldn't get financing. They told us, no, you don't have time to farm and teach school. And it was during our dad was living, and as a result, we couldn't get it because of the financing agencies. That's the problem that was fronted black farmers then and now. And now it's very hard for young black farmers today to get started in farming because of the financing situation that they're confronted with. And that's what the black farmers are trying to do now, because farming has mechanized a whole lot from when I got started. I remember when I used to walk around that old mule.
Right.
Put in the planter, put in everything, every piece of equipment that you farm with, then you had to walk behind a mule. And you walk in the dust and farm. But now, one piece of equipment costs more than an average black farmer, a young black farmer can't start with zero now because of the system of financing. It's not that they don't have the ability and the technology, because technology is available for them, because we have a extension for out there in the oil corner to help them with technical assistance. But there's no agency that will finance them because they'll tell you some strange thing. I remember when my dad was farming, trying to get money. They wanted to know how many hens he had and how many were laying. Then how many eggs did he eat, or how many eggs did he hatch? This was the kind of thing that they were confronted with in order to try to get a financing agency to operate a farm.
And see, what a lot of people don't realize, people don't really understand in this country that the USDA is the second largest budget in the federal government behind the Pentagon. And what they also don't realize is that the largest federal government bank is in the USDA. They fund a significant number of projects that traditional banks actually don't fund. That's one of the reasons why under President Biden, Marcia Fudge, former Congressman of Ohio, she did not want to be the Secretary of HUD. She actually wanted to be Secretary of Agriculture. But Biden chose the Secretary of Agriculture, used to be the governor of Iowa, who also served in the same job, Vilsack, under Obama. And so, and in fact, Congressman David Scott, who just passed away, was the first African-American to head the House Agricultural Committee. He told me a story he told me a story when Ron Dellums or one of the other members were on. It was a white congressman who from the South who said, "I can guarantee you that a Negro will never ever lead this committee." So when we talk about farming in this country and agriculture, it has been controlled, dominated, and operated by white folks in this country. And so even when we're talking about the federal government, even when we're talking about those committees, and so a lot of people really don't understand the billions of dollars that flow through agriculture in this country and how black folks have been completely left out of that process.
I can remember when I was growing up, my dad, he was able to get a loan from what they call Farmers Home Administration. And my dad was always getting his loan in the month of July. We always needed that money during March when the springtime, when it started planting. Every year, my daddy was going into debt. And in
Hold on. I don't want you to speak past that because for people who don't understand that, okay, who don't understand seasons. So you said they were providing the money in July.
In the summertime.
But you had to hit a certain date in the spring to plant, which meaning he had to front that money and up front, and he's not getting the money until 3-4 months later. Okay, go ahead.
And he was owing a lot of the seed companies, parts, stores for equipment that he had bought. But my dad, in 2000, he owed a lot of money to the federal government. He was about ready to lose his land.
When you say a lot, what does that mean?
About $70,000. He had about 40 acres. And Alcorn State University Extension Program came up and helped him out to reduce his loan to about $2,000, and he was able to pay his loan back off to the federal government. And when my dad he was old, and I was asking him, Dad, can I lease your land? And I was able to lease his land, and I was able to farm with my dad. And I was able to get a loan, and I was able to put my seeds in the ground. And now I am productive as a farmer now because I'm able to get money in time to put my seeds in the ground. And that is a problem right now for a lot of our young farmers. They want to get into the business, but they don't have the operating capital to get in the fields.
Well, it's the same thing for frankly black-owned businesses that's not in farming. So, for instance, if you have a business, let's just say you get a contract from city, from the state, from the government, or someone else. Well, the problem is many of those people are paying on minimum 90-day term, some as much as 180-day. So, in essence, you got to float your business from 90 to 180 days, and you're paying your expenses up front. And that's one of the reasons why when Maynard Jackson was mayor of Atlanta, he set it up where he said that if we're putting our city money into banks, those banks should be providing lines of credit to those black-owned businesses. He said, look, we giving them the contract to provide lines of credit, and then banks balked. And he said, fine, we'll pull our money out your banks. And so this really is the fundamental reason why our black-owned businesses don't grow. 95% of all black-owned businesses in America do $5 million or less revenue. 95%. 98% of our black-owned businesses have one employee. And so that lack of capital is a massive reason why we're not able to build and grow scale.
And I just want to say one more thing. A lot of my uncles and my cousins, they kind of had health problems because of they was not able to get operating capital for their land. I can remember my cousin Houston when they took some of his land and sold it. He immediately got dementia, and he got sick because he was worried about losing his land. So in the factor of losing our land here in the Mississippi Delta, it's really impacting our health problems because, we're worried. You're worried about your crop, and then you're worried about your land at the same time. So we having a two-factor. I know everybody's talking about we got a lot of health problems here in the Mississippi Delta, but losing something that you fought for a long time, that you bought, that can give you...
And that your ancestors bought, absolutely. I see this sign here that y'all had the highest grade of cotton in the world. Yes. And so in terms of what are you actually farming? What crops are you farming here in Mount Bayou?
Well, in Mount Bayou, we probably grow more grain than anything else.
I'll speak right into the microphone.
In Mount Bayou, we grow more grain than anything else.
Okay.
Different forms of grain. I would like to take you back a little, though. When the term Mount Bayou, a lot of people always ask me how did they get the name, and that was because of where it's located, and it was mounds and bayous, and the land was owned by the president of the Confederacy, Jeff Davis, and the
that's who I call America's greatest domestic terrorist. Yeah. But go ahead. Yes, that's how I refer to him. I call Donald Trump, the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon con man in chief, and I call Jefferson Davis America's greatest white domestic terrorist. But go ahead.
Yeah, when the land here was the water traveled in circular patterns, and it just fascinated so many people until they started calling it the mounds between the bayous. And that's how we got the name Mount Bayou.
And the way the story is told, he had no idea what the hell he was doing. No. Jeff Davis, him or his daddy.
No.
And to it?
Because they set up a base of operation down below Vicksburg on the side of the river, and they used moving people up here and back there to run their business operation. Okay, and when the Civil War came, they recognized that they wouldn't be able to maintain, the power structure that they had, and then the voting rights things came, and it just black people got more power, and that was one thing that hampered our people, was we weren't able to. I heard you say a while ago how many millions. Someone said how many millionaires there were in this area, and that's where they came from. The tree structure that was here in this land. It's a large land area, way more than 30,000 acres, way more than that. And the tree structure was here. It's when the northern cities began to build. When those northern cities began to build, black people were the only people here that, could survive the land. The white people weren't here because they couldn't deal with it. That's what it was. They couldn't deal with it. Our men could get out there and cut the land, and then they load it on barges and ship it north. And they'd use it to build those, the bills that was being done in the cities. And that's what made those millionaires down here. You tell the truth. They were actually millionaires. I learned all this from, my elders, because I listened, and they talked and I listened, and I took it in. And, there's a lot of other stuff I learned, but I get someone else a chance to talk.
Well, you said soybeans is one of our major crops right now because we are following the prices. Cotton prices are too low. Operating inputs are too much. Everybody around here is growing soybeans. Rice is down. And we can see a lot of the things that are happening with a lot of government tariffs and things like that.
Yeah, Donald Trump's idiotic tariffs have just destroyed because China has not bought a single soybean. And what's crazy is, and that's what kills me with these white farmers who vote with Trump. I'm like, y'all went broke last time. I mean, this is like just 2.0. He literally caused massive bankruptcies among many of these white farmers the first time he was there. And I'm like, what, y'all thought he wasn't going to do it again? And so, I mean, Donald Trump has single-handedly destroyed the American soybean market internationally through these tariffs.
Because soybeans were sold to China, and China was doing a lot of swine production. We was getting a lot of our pork from China, and we were selling them soybeans. So now the soybean production, we're trying to get that trade back together with China so we can we growing a lot of soybeans.
How have y'all been impacted by rising costs in fertilizer as a result of this war with Iran?
Input costs, diesel, fertilizer, seeds, chemical, all of these things. When you go in there, in the previous year you have a budget that you want to plan for, but in this season everything has went above our budget that we're growing now.
What, 20, 30, 40%?
50%, we can say. Because gas prices was $2.98. Now it's $4.30 right now.
Oh, but I thought Trump said he was going to lower those prices.
That's what he said.
Didn't he say that?
Yeah,
I thought he said Kamala was going to cause gas prices to go up. Yeah, okay, we know how that went. We know how that went.
And fertilizer have doubled, tripled. So the thing that you really want to grow right now is soybean. You don't have that much input costs in there.
Okay. Yeah. You talked about your grandkids and others in passing it on down. You also said that a lot of young folks want to get into agriculture. But is it also trying to get a new generation to understand that the reality is agriculture has completely changed from what it used to be? So when we talk about agriculture, there's a different way to actually look at this business because, listen, we're talking a multi-billion-dollar business. I think for a lot of African Americans, when they think agriculture, they literally think, oh, my God, I'm going to be on my hands and knees out there dealing with land, dealing with dust. But the industry has completely changed.
We can see our founder, we can see our founders' fathers, I.T. Montgomery, when they came to Mount Bayou, they was thinking about agriculture. And when they came into this town, they purchased a lot of the land. And I can remember when my daddy told me about my granddaddy when they moved from Uniontown, Alabama to Panther Barn, Mississippi. They came up and I.T. Montgomery showed them some land west of Mount Bayou, and they was able to purchase that land. So agriculture is what we was born on. That's what we came over in this country for to do, was agricultural work. So now...
For free.
So that is one of the biggest industry we have, even in the Mississippi Delta.
You want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that the young people are facing today is financing to get started. Because I think somewhere on the application, the question is, do you have any experience? Mm-hmm. If you've been working with your daddy or your mama there, you have some experience. But they don't count that as a part of the experience on your application. And it has totally gotten recognized now, because when I was walking behind the mule, I didn't ever think I could be sitting up on the tractor on the air conditioner, working my crops now. But look how expensive that a piece of equipment is for me to ride with all that comfort, GPS.
Air conditioning, GPS, got a radio. You chilling.
One of the things we have to watch.
It's expensive, but it's, and it's hard for a young farmer to start with those kinds of expenses. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things we have to watch is, that's the whole thing with the computer movement, is to evade the direct responsibility. See, if they computerize everything, then, it's not like they can tell this man or me or you that, we know we're doing wrong or we should do it. It's a machine, and the machine is, if they can get the votes like you're talking about, where they can set up the programs to do exactly what they want the programs to do, then it doesn't matter, what human beings say and think, whether you, black, white, red, yellow, whatever. That machine, they're going to convey the manipulation and running of this society over to that machine, which means they are de facto in control, and they know the answer to every question.
Well, I know you was talking about the Mississippi Delta, and I know you was talking about Mississippi. You was trying to say it's one of the poorest state in the union.
It is.
I know, but if you carve the Mississippi Delta out of the state of Mississippi, Mississippi will be number one in everything. Right here, the Delta is where we're mainly black. We're like 70% black, and the economy for us is not there. You have our counterpart, they are on large plantations and large acres of land that they can be able to be productive citizens. We are just struggling because we don't have that economic and monetary in our back pocket. So we're talking about Mississippi, we're talking about Alabama, but it's just a part that we are in as black people. We're in those poor parts.
Yeah, because, it was designed that way, and it was designed to keep us locked out of the economic system. And, that is just simply the reality. And so we see this all across the country. So even if you talk about Black Belt in Alabama, you talk about Mississippi Delta, but all of a sudden you go to certain parts of Houston or Dallas or other large cities, the exact same thing applies. And that is... And that's one of the things that we're always talking about, how being frozen out of the system. That's one of the reasons why, again, when I connect the dots with Black Power, if you look at CDFIs, Community Development Financial Institutions, one of the biggest supporters of CDFIs is Congresswoman Maxine Waters. Well, if Democrats control the House, she's chair of the House Financial Services Committee. So she has played a role in driving billions of dollars to those institutions. When you talk about okay, if Democrats it cracks me up when I listen to all these old Simple Simons out here who whine and complain, trying to say, oh man, you sitting here, you shilling for Democrats. Facts are facts. If Democrats control the House, Congressman Bobby Scott is over the committee that's driving education money. The reason Alcorn State, the reason HBCUs got $17 billion under Biden-Harris was because Bobby Scott was the chair of that committee. He was the driving force of that money. And so when we talk about losing political power, he's in Virginia. His seat is safe. But when you start talking about losing seats in Florida, if you lose Figures in Sewell in Alabama, you lose Thompson in Mississippi, you lose your seat in Memphis in Tennessee, you lose the 1st Congressional District, Don Davis in North Carolina, you lose potentially 2 seats in Georgia. We've lost 2 in Texas. Again, you now don't have the ability of your people chairing committees, being over those committees to drive resources. And so that's what I'm trying to constantly convey to our audience, that we can't just be looking at politics in a one-dimensional way. We have to recognize, and then I love the people who say, well, we shouldn't be begging the government. These same white folks go to the same government to get money. Trust me, I don't know of a single white farmer that said, yeah, we're not going to take that $25 billion y'all set aside. And so they are taking advantage of those resources. And so we just have to understand that as well. Final comment, and that is, if there's, for next generation, if there's somebody out there who's watching, somebody who's listening, and they are interested in going into the agriculture business, what's the one piece of advice you have for them? I'll start here.
One thing I would say is, take a long, hard look and be willing to spend some time doing some research and be acceptable, whatever comes up in your sight.
We have some...
and get some comfortable shoes. Go ahead.
We have some HBCUs, UAPB, Alcorn State University, Southern, and Alabama A&M. Some of these universities that they can go and get them a career there. Agriculture is still the heartbeat of America, and you're going to always have to eat 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And these farmers right here are the ones that feed you every day.
I know I had some great ribs across the street earlier, so go ahead, I'm sorry.
I will tell them, too, you have to go there with patience, hard work, and persistent, because they're going to tell you no the first time, but you can't accept that no. You have to go back and regroup and come back again, because they're going to try to disencourage you all they can in every way that they can to keep you from getting into that part of the big industry, which is farming. Agriculture is a big industry.
Yes, sir.
All right, then. And so I'm going to do this here. I'm always giving stats because I want people to understand how the money works. And so earlier when I mentioned, so you take COVID relief, Alcorn got some $66 million in COVID relief. But then when I look at funding, that additional funding that came, let me pull this up because this was I got this from Congressman Jim Clyburn. We were pulling up the numbers, and I was trying to walk people through what the numbers actually look like. And the additional money that Alcorn received was, let me go here. Alcorn received an additional $25 million. And so I'm saying that because people need to understand, again, when we have black representation, we have folk who are on the inside advocating for us. And so all of that absolutely matters. We appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Folks, when we come back, we'll have more from Mound Bayou, Mississippi, right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
This week at the Black Table, we discuss a place, an idea, a dream, and a reality that everybody on the planet should know about. A place called Mount Bayou.
What about black people creating their own country, not from the outside in, but from the inside out?
That's next on the Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
Hey everybody, I'm T.D. Jakes, and I want to encourage you to watch Roland Martin Unfiltered. It'll blow your mind.
All right, folks, welcome back. Mound Bayou, Mississippi, right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Obviously, when we talk about Mississippi, Medgar Evers played a huge role fighting for black folks in this state. And, of course, massive tie-in to Mount Bayou. Mayor Johnson comes back, and he decided to bring his daddy. You know, black people always want to do a shout-out. So introduce your dad.
Well, this is Herman Johnson. Herman came here in the 50s, and he came here with a letter from his Southern University professor to give it to Dr. T.R.M. Howard. And in that letter, it was introducing my dad, and my dad came to pick my mom up and go to Chicago, but Dr. Howard kept him here because Medgar Evers had just sent Medgar Evers to Jackson. So he needed somebody to fill the seat, and that's how my dad ended up here in Mount Bayou, Mississippi.
And you never left?
I'm still here.
You're still here?
Still here.
Tell, for the folks watching and listening, the experience of being here during that period. And you're talking about 1950, so now we're talking 76 years.
If you don't mind, let me just say real quick. When I came here, Mount Bayou was jumping. Now, and I came here because my aunt was here, and she had come and told my mother about Mount Bayou. Mount Bayou had the first black swimming pool, the high board and the low board. It had the first zoo for black people probably in the state. It had tennis.
Just hold the microphone right up to you so you can hear you. There you go.
It had,
a little lower.
It had so much that the other towns in the area didn't have. And I'm saying, I got to see this town. So when I came here and Dr. Howard said, you take this job, and I took Medgar Evers' job, and I worked with Magnolia Mutual Life Insurance Company until the Klan got so hard on him, they said they were going to kill him. And he left and went to Chicago and started a medical facility called Green Parrot Inn, because he had a green parrot and a place here that people from all over the state were coming to eat. Now, I was kind of small then, and I would see the people eating big old watermelon and the pitchers of water, and the water was brown. I thought it was beer and watermelon that he was serving to them. But anyway, he started the Green Parrot Inn, and in the Green Parrot Inn in Chicago, interesting thing, and I just like to say that he was the first medical facility in the state of Illinois that was prepared for, what was it? he was ready for abortions. No other place in the state of Illinois was ready for abortion. And the white people got mad at him because they saying this black man gonna make too much money. But the interesting thing too, and it's a story that's not told by everybody, J. Edgar Hoover, who was bad on black people that was in the civil rights, when they stopped Dr. Howard for ambulance chasing in Chicago, because he was working for S.B. Fuller, and they stopped him saying he was ambulance chasing, and he said, well, when they, and he in court, he said, when they come to me, they said, hey, I don't know anybody that has ever seen the pain. And you tell me you've ever seen the pain, so I give them for what they said that they needed. But anyway, the interesting thing, and I saw it in the Pittsburgh Courier, that J. Edgar Hoover, who was so bad on black people all over the United States, he supported Dr. Howard, complimented him for what he did in Mississippi, and I was surprised.
Well, that's because J. Edgar Hoover was actually secretly black. This is you were talking about taking Medgar Evers' place. Even to the point that he left his typewriter, and so it was on display over here. It's this typewriter over here. Anthony, don't tear up the museum, dog. I'm just messing with you. So we got so we got your photo over there. Man, get that shot steady, dog. Of a typewriter here. So that's what you worked on?
Well, the typewriter and the chair.
That sucker look heavy.
Desk and everything.
So the chair and so he left everything. He was like,
well, when he left, of course, he went to the state for NAACP field director. I took his place, and when we had to close, we had closed about 2 years later. We closed Magnolia Mutual Life Insurance Company. So I brought the furniture home because somebody had to have it. So I brought the desk, typewriter, and chair. And I kept it. And my son grew up using that typewriter. My daughter grew up using the typewriter.
And we didn't know anything about it.
Didn't know
that it was Medgar Evers.
I didn't tell them because at that time, Medgar Evers' name had not become important. But anyway, later on, after he did become, known nationally, Medgar Evers, and later on, Marina Evers, who was Medgar Evers' daughter, came to do a speech in Mount Bayou, and she came to my house, and I sat her in the chair, desk, and typewriter, and I typed in the typewriter, "This is the typewriter that came from Magnolia Mutual Life Show that your daddy owned when he was," and she said and cried. But anyway, that was just an interesting story that I brought from Magnolia Mutual Life Insurance Company to my home, and now it's in the museum.
Darryl, share for folks, this will be the last question before I go to break and bring up our final guest. There's a sign over here. Share for folks who never heard of this connection between Mount Bayou and Emmett Till until they actually saw the movie.
That's right. A lot of people did not know. They don't tell our history, but here's the deal. Mamie Till comes to Mississippi. She's coming to a racist, dark state. Mount Bayou is the light. It's the lighthouse. It's the place of sanctuary. And Dr. T.R.M. Howard actually pulled her in, not only her, but other journalists and other people, white and black. They were protected when they came to Mount Bayou. And it was a place, and it had become a place of sanctuary for years, where people knew that if I can get to Mount Bayou, this is where I could be safe. So this was what it was, and Mamie Till was part of that, and And, of course, she had relatives here in Mount Bayou. But Dr. Howard also had people in his house that took care of her as far as security is concerned. And then a lot of secret stuff. My dad used to drive Dr. Howard around. And he could hide a gun in his car, and you never could find it.
So you got secrets, huh?
Well, look, I had the opportunity to drive around. But let me tell you something a lot of people don't know, is that Mount Bayou was a sanctuary. If anybody got into trouble all around the state of Mississippi, and if they made it to Mount Bayou, they were safe.
That was it.
Because we had you don't know it, we had an underground railroad station in a hotel here in Mount Bayou, and the mayor and the police, and they knew who it was. But if you made it to Mount Bayou, the next time you heard of it, you were in Chicago, New York, or St. Louis.
That's right.
They don't know how you got, where you got.
Just make it to the hotel.
But you made it to Mount Bayou.
That was it.
You disappeared.
We took care of me either way.
This is a sanctuary city. And the police didn't come to Mount Bayou. They had to check with the police in Mount Bayou
before they come in. That's right.
And it was a long time before they started try to make their way into Mount Bayou.
That's right.
But anyway.
Before they figured out what y'all were doing.
Yeah.
All right, then. Well, look, I appreciate you sharing those stories with us. Thank you so very much.
I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, thanks. And again, you said you came here in 1950, and so how old are you now?
97.
97. All right, then. I will appreciate it. Thanks a bunch. Quick break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Hey y'all, welcome to The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Rhea Baker, and my good sis, Jamira Burley. We are just two millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to The Other Side of Change.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
I'm Mark Morial, President and CEO of the National Urban League, and I'm watching the Black Star Network.
Folks, you heard me mention earlier the type of cotton that was here in Mound Bayou. It was, you see the sign right here, it said the highest grade of cotton in the world. And joining us right now is Dr. Dr. Sade.
Hit that.
I did it on purpose. Dr. Sade Turner Speed, Executive Director of the Cotton Pickers of America Historic Site. Glad to have you here. So what is the Cotton Pickers Historic Site of America? Explain that.
Oh, well, it is a tribute to Grandmama now. It is finally our effort, our very intentional effort to say thank you for picking all that damn cotton. No one has honored them throughout. I get emotional about this thing because can you imagine, and I know you can, out there picking that cotton from can to can't 6 days a week. And how much did you make? How many thanks did you get? And for us not to acknowledge and pay respect and show our children how to be respectful of that work and honor them in a way that is dignified and just they are so worthy of everything I can imagine.
Explain that, because what you have is you have a lot of people who do not want to talk about any of that. When movies come out, folks will say, oh man, we don't need another slave movie. We don't need another. First, and I'm always going, I'm like, y'all act like it's a lot of them, and it's not. And what I've often said is that, earlier you talked about controlling narrative, that the problem that we have is we are looking at those movies as if we are victims, when I say no. When I look at folk who went through chattel slavery, who went through Reconstruction, who went through Jim Crow, I said, no, those are heroes without capes, what they endured. And so part of that, to your point, is showing respect to those ancestors and not act as if they were irrelevant, and by saying, oh, I don't even bring them up, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear anything celebrating the picking of cotton.
Let me be clear. First of all, I'm an educator. I'm a retiring professor from Jackson State University, the Olive, okay? But the thing is
You know this Alcorn territory. Don't be coming in here and start no mess. Don't be coming in here and start no mess.
Valley, who here? Okay.
Mississippi Valley State. Come on now. You start mess.
So I'm going back to Valley, which was a cotton field, by the way, and grew up into a university, the youngest HBCU. But I want to make the point of education, because it's that. How was it the narrative? You know, how did you talk about this thing? How did people learn about this thing? How degrading and so horrible was the description of that work? We need to put some dignity on that stuff. And, you know, the agency in owning the fact that we built this country, picking that cotton. This became the Cotton Kingdom.
That's right.
And the king of cotton was Benjamin T. Montgomery, the father of Isaiah T. Montgomery and Benjamin Green, who started this. I mean, that whole narrative is amazing. And most folks don't know nothing about it. But this effort is headed up. Our original and inaugural chair was Dr. Maya Angelou, who wrote a special poem in tribute to our efforts here. It's our mandate, our marching orders. When she passed, B.B. King became our honorary chair. Now it's Bobby Rush. But Ed Dwight, the man who went to the moon with Jeff Bezos' shuttle or whoever.
Ed Dwight, who was actually the first black astronaut.
Exactly.
Yes.
He is the developer of the monument. He has the whole game plan. I just spoke with him on yesterday, and he's saying, Shada, you better hurry up and get this thing, because he's 93. So he has 133 monuments already in play in this country on African-American history. And he is saying he has done all of that to be able to do this cotton picker monument.
All right, so explain to us this monument. Anthony, where are you? I need a shot of this. I need a shot of the monument. It's right behind you.
Yeah, it's a man, woman, and child looking for a brighter day. And Mr. Herman Johnson wrote the poem that describes what this monument is saying, and we have published it in a book called Field Hollers and Freedom Songs. So thank you, Mr. Johnson, for your beautiful poem and your contribution to this, who he too was a part of the original board, along with Sylvester Hoover, the two gentlemen here, that we're part of the initial and original board of directors to get this monument built.
All right, so where would this monument be placed?
Mount Bayou.
And okay, what do you need? How far along are you?
Well, we need $30 million. Somebody out there write us a check real quick right now.
So you need so to build this this monument. What will be the size of this monument?
This monument will be on. It's a historic park,
right?
And it will extend to Mississippi Valley State University. We're still negotiating that, but at all 18 counties that represent the Cotton Kingdom, we will have a shotgun house interpretive center.
Okay.
And so here, we're still negotiating land space, but we're working with the Johnsons on that in that regard as well, too.
Got it. And what will be the size of the monument
30
itself?
feet.
30 feet?
Yeah.
So the 30 million is for the monument and the whole project.
Complex. Yes.
Gotcha.
The whole project.
What role does the state play in this? Are they embracing this or not?
Let me just say that we haven't asked for the money yet because we were getting the narrative story right.
Okay.
I got my PhD around this whole thing, right? Getting and doing this research. It is amazing. First of all, cotton is not indigenous to North America. It is indigenous to Africa. We brought the seed, we brought the gin, we brought the skills, we brought the people who knew how to plant and pick cotton and make it into what it has become, the #1 commodity of all commodities for over 200 years. All profits that were made did not equate to the monies that were made in cotton. We got to understand that. And we didn't, that's because we wasn't paid, right? That's why they made so much money. That's why all these white folks still rich on trust fund accounts. Thank you very much. Because they didn't pay their workers. They didn't pay us. So again, we have to make that demand. And who is it? Frederick Douglass that said, you ain't going to get nothing until you demand it. And so you got to know what you know and know that grandmama and them did this work and trusting that we will benefit from their labor. Right. So where's our demand for that? Reparations? Okay. Retributions? Okay. Whatever R word you want to use, we got to be the one to make that demand. And so I'm just saying, this is a very important first step. And it was John Jarvis, President Barack Obama's national park director, when I was telling him about it, because we wanted to become a national park. Right. Once we build it, let the country take care and protect this thing for the life of this country. He said, it's time.
So again, for the whole project is $30 million.
Yes.
But to get the statute done, what is that?
Yeah, that part is broken down. Ed has a whole complete budget broke down. And
how much is it?
I can't remember.
Okay, how you
I think it's about $2 million. It's about $2. I think it's about $2 million.
All right.
For the whole.
Because you already said demand 93.
I know. You gotta hurry up.
So the whole thing is get the money to build the monument, so that at least the monument is done.
Hey, Roland, it's $2 million.
Okay.
Yeah, we could just get the monument. I want the whole thing.
No. See, Doc, right there. See, Doc, let me real clear.
I'm not greedy.
Doc, let me real clear. You can't get 30 unless you get 2.
Okay, that's right.
Then you can't get 2, can't get 5 until you leave. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, like you said, the man 93. Yeah. So, if we at least get the monument built.
If we at least get the monument built, we can say thank you, Ed, for all of your
there you
work.
go. So, I'm just saying, Doc, next time you do a TV show, come with the number. Don't be saying, I don't know. I got on my computer.
I see the whole picture.
But no, you got to break that thing down. You trying to complicate this, okay?
I'm trying to get it done.
No, you see.
We want all over the
okay, you a preacher. You need to explain to her about how to raise money. Okay, she ain't doing this right. She ain't doing this right. No, you ain't doing this right.
I'm helping her out.
You need to help her out. She ain't doing this right. Look, I know how to raise money. You ain't doing this right.
We need you on board, by the way.
Don't be sitting here saying, I don't know.
We need that kind of help.
I got all the legal pad at my house. No, that ain't going to do it.
On my computer.
That ain't going to. Okay, so again, what is your projected timeline? When would you like to have the money raised and the project done?
Yeah, it is a 3-year process and building it out completely. And so now is the time that we're truly launching for the funding process. We haven't asked for the money because it's like I always felt that it's only going to take 1 or 2 checks, Oprah.
No. It ain't going to take 1 or 2 checks.
Could.
No, it's not.
It could.
No, it's not.
I believe.
No, it's okay. First of all, as somebody, look, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated led the building of the MLK. Tell you right now, that was not 1 or 2 checks.
No,
it was a series of small checks.
Yeah.
So my whole point is, you don't wait. Look, this show right here, all the people. It's only one prominent person that's given to this show. One. This show has been built and has survived for 7.5 years because of 47,000 people who have given $1, $5, $10, $25.
Yeah, I hear you.
So that's what I'm saying. So next question, Doc, what is the website for people to go to? Do you have your donate link up on the site? Don't tell me you ain't got no.
No, you know I ain't gonna tell you ain't got no site, no links.
You don't have a site?
Of course we
What's the
got
site?
this site. It's
What's the site?
www.cottonpickers.us. And there are 4 different ways that you can
Hold up. Let's make sure the website up. Cottonpickers.us. Okay, all right, go. Keep going.
Oh, and 2, on your points about the monuments, because my sister, who you know very well, Julianne Malvo, she was involved in pulling together the monument for Fannie Lou Hamer.
Okay, so I'm on y'all site right now, Doc. So y'all have sent monetary donations. Y'all got Cash App and Venmo. Okay, I'm gonna need you to add PayPal.
PayPal is on.
No, PayPal not on. Doc, I'm on the website.
Okay,
Doc,
it should
come
be
on
on
now.
there now.
Doc, I'm
I
way
just
ahead
got a
of you.
donation on. It's another link then.
Doc,
it's in there. Okay. Look, y'all can go and explore the website.
I told y'all I know how to raise
find
money.
So many ways to donate.
Okay, let me go.
Even mailing a check.
Okay, hold up. I'm checking.
Make it payable to Coffray Inc. We are a 501c3 not-for-profit organization here based in Indianola, Mississippi. And so we've been at this since 2009.
Okay, so Doc, let me give you some advice. Okay, so here's the problem. If you click the donate button, if you click menu and you click donate, it only goes to PayPal.
Okay, so that's PayPal's the third one.
Right, no. But you need a whole donate page. So when you just said send a check and everything, that's not on here. So you need to, whoever's doing your website, they need to change your donate page. And on the donate page, they need to have PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, and the address.
All the options.
All that right there on the page. Because so the problem is on your main page, it only has Cash App and Venmo. But if you click the donate, it only goes to PayPal. Okay. So you need to change the donate page.
Okay, Clarice, do you hear that?
Okay, who?
Clarice Norton.
Okay, Clarice Norton. Clarice, let me help you out. Also, Clarice, on your homepage, Clarice, you got the money too low. So you need to have the money, Clarice, at the top of the page. The money is never too low. Put the money up top. Like at the top. At the top. Always put the money up top.
That's
I'm
right.
just saying. Okay? That's what you guys, I'm just saying. That's what you got to do. Yeah. Look, our fans have given $5.5 million in 7 years. Oh, so we know where to put the money. And so folks, do this here. Cottonpickers.us. Cottonpickers.us. Go to the website. Y'all can read all the information. It's a lot of great information on here. I'm looking at it right now. And you can support this as well. Anything else you got to say?
Yeah, please support this effort to say thank you to Grandmama and them for picking all that damn cotton.
All right, then. All right. Sade, I appreciate it. Yes. I got it. All right, here we go.
Okay.
So explain the Seeds of Hope garden, Indianola. Plant your garden and make it grow. Explain this.
Yes, we were talking about how youth can be and should be involved in this agricultural land ownership, planting the seeds, make them grow effort. We have something that is going to be a template and a model for all of the Delta to follow, and that is they're going to have their own little plots of land next to the House of Coffray in Indianola downtown, and we have an acre of property where we're cordoning off 6 feet by 6 feet, and so we have the kids who will be monitoring and planting their own garden and making it grow, but we need y'all to help them. So you need to come through and help them, show them how to do it.
Right.
And then they will be planting their own little strawberries, their own little greens and onions or tomatoes or whatever they want. And these beautiful structures that we have developed for them, very artistically created with cinder blocks and walls of, how you can plant stuff on the walls.
So if people want to do that, so y'all are doing an orientation informational meeting and walk through on Saturday, May 9th at noon.
Yes.
So if people want to get more information, what site do they go to? I don't see it on here.
I'm sorry?
Where do they go? Is there a website they go to?
Oh, yeah, that, again, is the cottonpickers.us.
So this is on here as well. So this information, the Seeds of Hope, is on cottonpickers.us. All right, y'all. So if you want more information on the Seeds of Hope, go to cottonpickers.us and check it out. Shirley, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I'm not going to take a break, so I need you to come on up. We were talking earlier, Herman and Daryl. So explain to us So this story has gone around that said that Trump's white Afrikaners from South Africa were invading Mount Bayou. And so we were chatting about that. So what is going on with that story? Can you explain it to us?
Well, I can tell you how it happened.
Got it.
Into here.
Because the story has gone all around,
Exactly.
and black folks are posting about saying, "Oh Lord, Trump's white people are coming in and taking over the black town." And go ahead.
Well, a man came in here, a young man from looked like he was from China or something, and he came in here and said that he was writing a story. And he said he was writing a story for a publication in China. And he had been going around. He had been to Greenwood. He had been to other places in the Delta. And he was collecting quotes about the people coming from South Africa, the whites coming from South Africa, working in the farms in the Mississippi Delta. My response to him immediately, because I had people in here, and I said, look, I don't know too much about it, but, you may find other people around here in town who know something about that. He said, well, just give me a quote. Give me a couple of quotes. And that's it. Well, I can give you a couple of quotes because I have seen the people. And so I told him what I knew about it, and that was it. The next thing I know, a few days later, the whole story is about how it's coming to Mount Bayou.
Yeah, it was done by
and impacting the people in Mount Bayou, which was not the case.
It was done, literally, I'm looking at this, first of all, to the control room. I'm going to drop this in our group me, so I want y'all to pull it up. I'm going to read from some of it. And it was done by... and in fact, the Jackson Clarion Ledger ran the story. The headline said, Mississippi historic black farming hub hit as white South Africans take farm jobs. This is by the China Central Television. The lead said in Mount Bayou, Mississippi, which once stood as a proud symbol of African-American self-governance, unemployment among African-American residents is soaring as white South African farm workers fill local roles under U.S. visa programs, often earning more than locals. It says for years, Mexican laborers dominated these positions, but with the U.S. government dramatically tightening immigration policies, Mexican workers have largely stopped coming, creating job vacancies that South Africans have rushed to fill. So is that happening? Here? No, step up. Okay, explain. So what's going on? Okay. First of all, what's your name?
My name is Charles Motley. I'm president.
I got the microphone. Put your hands down. All right. No, I got it. What's your name?
My name is Charles Motley, president of Sunflower County NAACP.
Sunflower County NAACP. Okay, gotcha. So what is going on?
Well, South African came here to farm in Indianola. They've been coming for years.
How far is Indianola from here?
30 minutes.
Okay.
And so they have been coming to Indianola for years. And what has been happening is that they'll come over from South Africa and they'll do the same jobs that black people are doing in Indianola for years, but they've been getting paid more. Ty Pinkins, that was part of the Mississippi Center for Justice, handled that case about 4 years ago. So he was able to get money for the black farmers that was being neglected for pay. I think he got about 7 paid. I took that case to the Mississippi Center for Justice. And so right now, they saying that since that happened, they're trying to do the same thing in Mount Bayou, Mississippi. That's what's happening. So it's no truth to it. But they know that South Africa came here to work in the fields, and they was probably thinking they was going to do the same thing here in Mount Bayou that they did in Indianola, Mississippi.
What y'all saying is that is not going to happen in Mount Bayou.
It can't happen in Mount Bayou.
Okay, got it.
That is not our narrative.
Yeah, good on that.
So you saying they can go some many other places, but they not going to be coming here taking farming jobs in Mount Bayou.
I can't see a black farmer hiring a white South African. And the black farmers are here. So why are they hiring white South Africans?
What it is, Italians and white farmers getting these South Africans coming in here to work.
Got it.
Now, yeah, true enough, Italians and white farmers have land around.
So Italian and white farmers are ones who are recruiting them. Right, around the outside. But what y'all saying is they ain't gonna be farming in Mount Bayou.
Exactly.
There you go. Okay.
Roland,
we just wanted to clear that up. Go ahead.
Let me just say, this is the thing. They assume, coming from another country, they assume that they'll just keep walking and keep walking. And let me go into this where these folks are in here. And then they say Mount Bayou, but they didn't know where they were. So they thought that they could put all of that together.
I'm just trying to figure out why even the Jackson newspaper would run that. Like, they don't even know where this is.
Yeah, but it was an article.
Got it.
Yeah, so just run the article. Nobody checked it.
Right, but again, though, this is also why black-owned media is important.
Right.
To be able, because again, when I saw the story, I was like, hold up, wait a minute, what? I'm like,
yeah.
White Afrikaners rolling up in a black town. I'm like, I said so. Yeah. So when we had the show in Shreveport, I was like, hey, let's go ahead and roll on down there, and then we can do a show from there, and then find out exactly what's going on. So, because I just knew y'all wasn't gonna be cool with them white African refugees rolling up in Mount Bayou. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm glad we got that straightened out.
The pants are too short anyway.
Huh?
The pants were too short.
All right, be careful.
Yeah, but they too pale. So I'm just saying. And I surely don't think black people in Mississippi gonna be cool with some folk coming from apartheid these formerly apartheid folks.
Exactly.
I'm just saying. All right. I appreciate the hospitality. Thanks for everybody for being on the show. Thank you so very much. It was great coming here. And I really want folk to learn the history. So folk, obviously, if they can't come here, where can they go online to learn about the Mount Bayou, Mississippi history?
MoundBayouMuseum.org.
MoundBayouMuseum.org. Okay?
Yes.
And also, folks, they've got a number of books and mugs and shirts and things along those lines that you can also get to support. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
And we got a donate button at the top of our website.
There you go. Sade.
We do too.
Sade.
We do too.
Sade. What's her name? What's her name? Clarissa? What's her name?
Clarice Norton. She's in Jamaica.
Clarice.
My niece in Jamaica.
Clarice, I'm going to need you, Clarice, to change that website, okay, to get that donate page straight.
She got you.
All right, get that donate page straight. All right, y'all, that is it for us. I appreciate, again, we had a great time last night in Shreveport, really trying to help that community heal after that massive tragedy, 8 kids being killed, 2 women being shot. Their brothers are stepping up. So Dr. Kevin Washington, they had a series of events happening right now in Shreveport. They've got other events happening tomorrow as well, and so please support that. And again, it was great being here as well, folks. We're back in the studio on Monday. Look forward to that. Don't forget, continue to support the work that we do. Listen, we don't just sit here and like a bunch of these other people sit in the studio in D.C. or New York and never go out. We spend lots of time on the road, traveling the country, covering stories, talking to folks about what's going on. And so your support for what we do is critical. Our goal is very simple. Let me show you how to do this, Sade. Our goal is very simple. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing on average $50 each a year. That's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. That supports all of the shows on the Black Star Network. And so we're able to do that. That raises $1 million to offset our annual expenses, which are $195,000 a month. And so your support is critically important to do that. And remember, every Friday, we also run the name of all of our donors. And so we have some 47,000 folks who have contributed since we launched the show 7.5 years ago. So if you want to be sure to get your name on that list, you want to contribute via Cash App, use a Stripe QR code. You see the QR code right here on the screen. Also, and if you are listening, go to blackstarnetwork.com, and you can actually access that. That's also for credit cards. Checks and money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037 7-0196. Learn your address, Sade.
Hey, is that you?
PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Samsung Smart TV. Also Amazon Fire TV. A lot of y'all want to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered swag. Our zip-ups, our crew necks, our T-shirts. Y'all know the best-selling shirt we have, Don't Blame Me, I Voted for the Black Woman. You can get that as a T-shirt or a crew neck, as a sweatshirt. Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. When you go to shopblackstarnetwork.com, support all the black-owned businesses that we have, more than 50 black-owned businesses with all of their products there. So please support them as well in our marketplace. All those products you see right there in our studio, those are all black-owned companies, and so please support them as well. And don't forget, download the app Fanbase, the black-owned social media app Fanbase. Follow me at Roland S. Martin. And every day, check out the breakdown with Brittany Noble, noon Eastern on the Black Star Network. Folks, that's it. I'll see y'all on Monday right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Holla!
Thank you, Roland. You gotta let the man know.
right.